welcome once again to my YouTube channel. Thank you for coming in to watch this video. Please consider subscribing so that you're able to get more information, and also remember to hit that notification bell so that anytime we post a new video, you're able to get notified. Today, I'm privileged to have a long-time friend of mine from UK. She moved from Kenya to UK, so I felt this information can be very good. So I brought her in so that she's able to tell us the process of moving to UK, and also we are able to compare. If someone out there is not decided on where to go, we can compare how life in Australia is compared to life in the UK. So allow me to let her introduce herself. Welcome, Matilda.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm so privileged to speak in your platform. And for those who don't know me, my name is Matilda Chepleting Malakwen, but recently I changed status to Matilda Chepleting Brigham. Maybe I can start from how I know Felix. It's way back in primary school. We studied in one primary school, and I was so privileged to be in the same class with our sister, who is also in Australia. So her sister has been more of a friend, more than even Felix. So recently when he told me he wants me to speak about how I came to UK, I told him I'm going to say a little bit about it because I'm not that old enough to get so much information, but I'm going to take you through my process, my personal experience on my process to come to UK and how I was able to move with family. Maybe I can talk about my background. I was born in Tuya, Kapseret, in Simat Kapseret ward, raised up in a village. In a village, I don't want to say I was raised up in town. No, I was raised up in village. I went to primary school in a local school called St. Luke. Then I moved to St. Matthews. That is where we met with Felix, and I was able to know him and know the sister, and that is how I've known him. So after primary school, I went to Kapseret Girls from 1 to Form 4. Then after there, I proceeded to Moi University, Chepkoilel campus. Let me put it in that way because I know recently it was changed to University of Eldoret. But when I joined there, it was under Moi University, Chepkoilel campus. I did my horticultural sciences and management degree. Then after there, hustle. When I finished Chepkoilel, I started hustling. I started looking for a job. I remember when I graduated, I told myself, no, I'm not going to stay in the village. If I stay there, I can't make any progress. So I moved to Nairobi, and I was able to do maybe not my professional job for a start, because I normally want to say my story to encourage somebody, because not everybody graduates and thinks you'll get the job of your dream. So I started with a local, what can I say? I worked with a, I have no idea how can I put it in. It was just a small shop, and I was there as an accountant, in which I didn't even know much about it. But because I wanted to to get a living and start life, I worked there for around, it's less than a year. And I remember I was earning 8,000 Kenya shillings. Ooh. And my rent was only, and I had to pay rent 4,000, transport 2,000. So if you do the calculation, you go to negative. But I never gave up. I never gave up because I thank God, because if I didn't go there, maybe I could not reach where I am today. So from there, I knew a few people. I moved from where I used to work, and started working in Amiran. Then I changed, I went to Green Life, where I worked for so many years until recently. Before I came to UK, maybe I'm so much of an entrepreneur. So I had to resign and do business. has been my journey, and I just wanted to say a little bit so that to encourage people, because most of our generation, they want to graduate, get a job, or being connected to a job. For me to get jobs, they were strangers, not family. People I meet during, maybe when I'm working somewhere, I get to talk to people and they tell me there's an opportunity somewhere. Apply there. That is how I had to move from one company to another until I was able to start doing business. So for me to come to UK, one of the fine days, one of our friends from Australia called us and told us, I want you to apply to come to Australia. We told him, how are we going to start this journey? We had a few assets. I told my husband, we can dispose a few of them and start the journey. We decided we go to an agent because we didn't even have an idea, where do we start, where do we end? So I told him the only thing we can do is to go to an agent and then get registered and way forward. That is how we kickstart. So I think the best thing is a personal decision that you want to go somewhere and take a step of doing it. So we took a step and went to an agent. It's called Level Up Consultant. It's based in Eldoret. So when we went there, we were not even for the idea of coming to UK. We knew we were going to Australia because of our friends. So when we got there, we had a word of exchange and they told us, no, you have to do IELTS. You have to register, do 1, 2, 3. So we had some amount of money so that we were prepared to pay for the IELTS. So after that, one of the ladies told me, Matilda, are you interested to hear about UK? I told her, I'm so open-minded. I'm so open-minded that any opportunity, I don't want to restrict myself just to say I'm going to Australia. And in case I apply and I don't get to go to Australia, I told her it's okay. I'm just open-minded. So we sat down, we talked about UK, and he told me, are you ready to give a try? I told her, yeah, I'm ready to give a try.
After that, now decided to go to UK. What was needed for you to start the process?
All right. When we agreed to apply for UK, so I left my documents with her because I think I didn't want to put so much of myself to come to abroad because I didn't want to get the disappointment and be depressed. So I just left the documents and we went home. After around 3 days, she told me, you got an offer letter. I'm like, how? I'm like, maybe the school confused. It's not supposed to be. Within a very short time of less than a week, you get an offer letter. But for the first thing, for a student who want to apply to UK, the best thing is to go to an agent, discuss which course do you want, which state do you prefer. But most of the time, it depends with the course you are doing, the cost of living, and I think most of the things and there are so many other courses that if you apply, you get the offer letter immediately. There are some, if you apply, it can take you some time. So it's good to talk to an agent and maybe you have your specifications, but it's good to be open-minded. So when you go there, you have your papers. The first thing the agent do is to do for you the application, or the first step is application. So they take your document and apply to maybe a number of schools or even the school that you have chosen. So after that,
taking you back a bit, maybe tell us what documents are needed for that application, maybe to apply to get a school.
All right, documents that are needed depend on the level that you are in education.
Yeah.
If you have done your KCSE, you'll need a KCSE certificate to enroll for a degree. If you have done your degree, you'll need your degree certificate to enroll for masters. If you have done your master's, you'll need your master's the certificate to enroll for PhD. So I think the best, it depends on the level that you are at that moment. Yeah, so you can even apply, if you have a certificate, you apply for a post diploma. That is for 1 year for you to go to do your degree. And there are some colleges that they do accept. Not all the colleges do, but there are some who do.
Okay, just now after getting applying for the school, so you get the offer letter.
Yeah, you get the conditional, the conditional offer letter. So the conditional after application, and you get the you are given after you do the application, you are given the conditional offer letter. So the conditional offer letter is the letter that gives you the conditions that you have to meet, so that the process can be proceeded to be processed. So most of the conditional documents is you pay your deposit, have all your documents that is needed.
When we talk about the deposit, that's the school fees, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So do you need to pay the whole amount, or you just pay a small amount, or the required amount that they just quote in the offer letter?
Okay, you just pay the required amount that they quote on the offer letter, because most of the schools they are like in a range of £2,000 to £4,000. That is the deposit that the school needs. So it depends with the school. Yeah, the school is the one that determines how much deposit are you going to pay. They have their own deposit.
Okay.
Yeah, that is, the school itself is the one that determines the amount of the deposit. For my case, I came to Keele University and I paid £2,000 for deposit.
So after paying the school fees, so what was the next process after that?
After paying your school fees, you get unconditional letter. The unconditional letter will come with what do we call, before you are given a before you're given a precast.
Yep.
So on unconditional, what can I say? Offer letter.
Yeah.
You'll have to have a TB. You have the medical check.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly maybe now because of COVID, they would need a COVID test, vaccine. Yeah, the vaccine, and that is where the bank statements comes in.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you're able to have all those documents, you'll be given a CAS. A CAS is what do we call? It's a confirmation of acceptance of studies.
Okay.
Meaning you have met all the conditions, and within your CAS, it will show you your full names, all your personal information, and the amount of deposit or fee that you have made. All your information is in CAS. And when you have your CAS, when the school gives you a CAS, the chances of you to get a visa is on a higher level, because you have sent all your documents plus the bank statement, everything. So they don't give out a the CAS number before you meet all the conditions that they need.
Okay. So talking about the bank statement, how much is needed when you ask how much is supposed to be in the bank on the bank statement you're supposed to give?
For bank statement, they always say the amount that is able to sustain you. To sustain you that is the living expenses for the period of time that you will be here. If it's 1 year, if it's 2 years, yeah. Amount of paying of fees, you should. So I don't want to say this amount of money, but it ranges between 4 million. It depends with the school also.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think also it depends on which state are you. If it's more expensive, the cash will be more. The BS will be more expensive because the living expenses there is a bit higher. Okay. So on those conditions, but it ranges on around 4 million, 2 million, and it depends on which level of education are you coming for. If it's certificate, it's a bit lower. If it's degree, it's a bit low. It's masters. As you go, as you advance, the more the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and with the statement as well, it needs to be a close member of the family, or you can get it from anyone.
It should, mostly it's a close member of family, a very close member of family. For example, for my instance, I presented my husband bank statement, but it was rejected.
Yeah.
So, they give you the reasons why they rejected. They told me we need a bank statement from your parents, because for the spouse, anytime he can divorce you. So the only people that they can stand with you is your parents. So they sent and told me we need the bank statement of your parents. So most of the time it should be the immediate family. And if it's an extended family, you have to have a lot of proof how related you are. Yeah.
After getting maybe now doing all that, now you've gotten the confirmation of studies. So that's what you use now to apply for your visa. Yeah.
Yeah. When you get your CAS, that is when you launch your visa.
Yeah.
So launch your visa, you have to submit all your documents that you submitted when you are doing your application, plus the bank statement. And that is the point where you pay your health searcher. Okay. So the health searcher, it depends with the years that you will be here. If it's like for me, for masters, I had to pay for 1 year. Those who are doing degree, they pay for 3 years. Yeah. It depends with the course that you are doing, or the level of education that you are coming out, the years that you will be here. So you present your CAS, you present your bank statement, you present, you pay your health searcher. Okay, I think those are medical. In UK, medical, you do TB. So and TB is done mostly in IOM in Nairobi. Okay. So those are the main documents that you need to launch your visa.
What's the rough estimate of maybe that process? How much does one need to have to do the launching of the visa?
For the visa application, you need roughly around, if you have 800, yeah, it's comfortable. You'll not struggle so much.
Okay.
I mean, that is the inclusive of the deposit, because the 800 will fall under the deposit that you have paid to school. So it's part of the deposit that you have done. So 800 is roughly, it's a good amount.
That's 800 pounds?
800,000 Kenyan shillings.
Oh, 800,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that is how many pounds? Around 6,000 or 8,000 pounds. Around 6,000 pounds there.
From the time now you did your application up to the time you are granted your visa, how long does it take?
For now, I can't determine how long. It depends on how fast you are. Yeah. Because if you get if you get, let's say, for example, the conditional offer, the unconditional, and you meet the requirements, every time you get a letter and you respond to it, the faster the process. If you have maybe the finances ready, it can be less than a month. And also it depends on how the school responds, because it's the school who guides you on step. If the school takes time, that is where you will take a longer time. If the school is fast, that is when you'll take a shorter time.
Now you've gotten the visa. So then how was the journey, maybe getting the flight and going to UK? Did you have people there to maybe welcome you and host you, or how was the accommodation plans for you?
Oh God, I think I'm the best experience for those people who don't know anyone. Because when I came in, I didn't know anyone. And I remember almost on the last days, I used to look for accommodation. There's an app, you look for accommodation. So when I was almost ready to come, we started looking for accommodation. And when I called the university, they tell me you have to look for outside accommodation because the school is already full. Because I came like almost 2 weeks late when people had reported to school. So I remember it was difficult.
Yeah.
It was difficult because even on the last day, I had to rent an hotel for 3 nights. And remember, I'm renting an hotel and I don't know after that 3 days, where will I go next? So I thank God because of my husband, because he's the one who encouraged me, and he told me, in case of anything, just give me a call. So every time he could call me, how far have you been? I just bought the plane. I even don't know where we land. I don't know. But the good thing, the school had organized for me a pickup from the airport. So that was the best thing that the school did it for me, because I landed in London, and to come to Kiel, it's 3 hours, 45 minutes drive. So when I landed there, nikapata ule mtu wa kusimama hivi.
No, with your name.
With my name.
Yeah.
So taxi ilikuwa imetoka shule, and that is so he picked me from airport to an hotel. So the guy from the taxi was so good, because me, when I took the plane, when I took the flight, I didn't communicate. I even didn't know how to put roaming to get data. So everybody was worried at home. Everybody was worried until my cousin had to take. I had given my husband the details of flight and everything. So they had to monitor me on internet and everything just to see how far I've been, because I didn't communicate for around 7-8 hours until I landed in London. So when I took the taxi guy told me, I know you have come a long journey and you want to talk to people. He opened a Wi-Fi, so I was able to talk to people from home and tell them I landed safely. So they took me to an hotel for the 3 nights. I'm like, oh, I'll be here for the next 3 nights. What will happen next?
Yeah.
So I continued searching for accommodation through the app. For the first night, I slept. The second night, I'm like, oh, what? The second day, I'm like, oh God, what will happen after the third day? So I searched on the spare room where you look for rooms and accommodation, and I emailed one of the landlords and booked for a viewing. Keep in mind, I'm booking for a viewing at a place I don't know, people I don't know, just taking risk. So he gave me like the following day, on the second day, he gave me an appointment, come and view the house at 1 p.m. So I didn't even check out of the hotel, I just took a taxi, because that was the only means of transport I could use. I don't know anywhere. So the good thing, there is Uber here. So I had the Uber app. I look for taxi, gave the address. When I was there, I met the landlord, and he showed me the house, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to take this. Even it wasn't in that very good condition, but I told myself I'm going to take this because I have no option. So I came back. I read the agreement and everything, and he told me, when are you paying? I told him I will pay tomorrow when I move in. So we agreed the following day at around 2 p.m. and move in, pay my rent, and that is how I moved. So when I went back to an hotel, I stayed the night and the night after. Then I checked out. I remember when I was in, it was almost time for me to leave. I got a message from the reception reminding me that I have to move at this time.
Yeah.
Likely enough, I had packed everything. I just moved and then I went there. So when I moved, that is how I got my accommodation. It wasn't in a very good area, but I thank God because I had a place to sleep.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can
So
really
I
be good for people who's if you're going abroad and you have no one to pick you, no one who can really support you. So for anyone who's back home, maybe and they're planning maybe to go abroad, what can you tell them from your experience? So
I think from my experience, the best thing is to take risk and be confident.
yeah.
Nothing is impossible because even the risk of moving, I don't know. It's just taking risks and be confident. Then I think most of these countries now, we have so many people. It's just the communication. When you're planning to move to abroad, try as much as possible to search and look for people around there, even if it's on Facebook. Because I came to realize people here in this country who come from Africa, they're so friendly. They're so friendly. Yeah, they will welcome a stranger, and here there is no Kenyan. We are all Africans. So it's good to broaden up your mind and get to know. In every state, you won't miss an African, even a Kenyan. Yeah, because after I stayed for around 2 weeks, I met one lady. Yeah, so I started meeting one by one, and that is how I cope up.
Wow, that's interesting. So you learned the hard way.
I learned the hard way, but I thank God because it added me.
So how long? So since then, so you've now moved into the house, and so how long did it take you? Did you start school immediately?
Yeah, when I moved in, we were already doing online classes because of COVID. So I had started doing my classes in Kenya because I told you I was a bit 2 weeks late. So I just continued doing the online classes as usual. And I remember at that time, there was no even movement. Even restrictions to go to supermarkets were everywhere. So, and I had to quarantine for 10 days, to self-isolate for 10 days. So I just continued my studies in my room. And yeah.
Well, that's really an interesting story and an amazing experience. So how long? So after now, you are now studying, and now you want to at least get a job. And so, how long did it take you to now find a job, or how was the process for you getting a job there? And maybe you can take us through that.
I think when we met with the lady that I told you, he recommended me 2 jobs, in which it took me less time, like around 3 weeks, because you have to go for training. But if you have somebody who can recommend you, it's a bit fast. If you don't have anyone, it can even take you a month or 2 months to get a job.
Did you need any training or any extra training or qualifications for you to do the job, or
it was just a familiarization of everything, because most of the organizations here, you have to do a training, even if it's a 2 or 3 days training. So I didn't have so much experience, but because of the training, they believe when they train you, that is, you can now go for the shift. They can give you the shift to do it. So for me, I told them, no, I have no any experience. I'm just coming for the training.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's good. So after that, now maybe you are now there with your family, right?
Yeah, I'm here with my son.
Maybe now give us your story. How did you settle, and how long did it take you to settle until now you started the process of applying for maybe for your husband and your family? Yeah, your family, that is.
All right. When I applied for my master's, I knew from the government rules that if you're doing master's, you are eligible to come with your family. Yeah. So the first thing was, what we agreed, we were supposed to come with family like at the same time, but I told my husband I don't want to. It's a new place. Going there, me, him, and the son and our son could be a problem. So I told him, let me go and see, even look around, because I remember when I moved to a shared accommodation. But if you have family, you have to look for a bigger house. That is 2 bedroom, 1 bedroom, depending on how many dependents are they coming in. So they came in June. Do I remember? June or July? June. They came in June, and at that time I was able to find a more spacious house that is a family house, because you can't live in a shared accommodation with children. So I was able, when they came in, I found an accommodation in which it was so good. Maybe people can come with family, but from my experience, it's good to come alone first, because finding accommodation here for family is it's challenging. It's so challenging. It took me time to find accommodation, because when you go there, they're like, you have to have a referee. If you don't have a referee, you have to pay 6 months upfront of rent.
Oh, that's quite challenging. Oh, that's
Yeah.
really cool. So when you
Yeah.
just talked about maybe if you are going to study your master's degree, you are allowed to go with your family. So what of the rest of maybe it's the rest of the courses, maybe someone is come to do their degree and they already got family. Are they?
No, the people who are eligible to come with families when you are doing masters and PhD, or if you got a work visa. But for degree, they don't.
Oh.
Even the normal, they don't.
Now, maybe tell us now your story. How was life been? Now your husband came in, your kid came in. So.
Okay, I think it for me it's so good, because family gives you support emotionally, everything. So when my family came in, I was not worried, because when I came, my son was 1 year and a half, so he was still young to be left alone. So when they came in with my husband, I felt a bit relaxed, and I was able now to concentrate more on my studies. And I think the social life of these countries. So if you have family, more advantageous to you.
Tell us, how is the experience for people who want to come there? How is it easy for them to get jobs? How's life there? Maybe living as a student is affordable, all that. Maybe a job is fine.
All right. From my point of view, it's worth coming the UK, especially if you are coming as a student. The education system is so good. So I encourage so many people to come. I encourage them. It's affordable, depending on the state you will land in, where your school is. For my case, it's I stay in Newcastle-under-Lyme. It's in the northern side of England. So life there is a bit cheaper. It's affordable. I can't say cheap, but it's affordable. This country, you need hard work, because the more effort you put, the more you get. So it's only hard work, and if you are determined, I always tell people, the first thing is, if you are a risk taker and you're willing to take life on another level, it's good to come abroad. There's nothing impossible. For students here, you have a limit of 20 hours. I think it cuts across all the countries. That applies very well here. And the best, it's just hard work, because you can decide. There's no one is going to push you maybe to go to school or to work, but it's all about discipline. You discipline yourself, you have to go to school, you have your 20 hours a week to work. So it's just a bit of balancing.
After maybe graduating now, you still have like 2 years, right?
Yeah.
You're given 2 years to maybe look for a job and maybe decide on what you have to do. If you are going back home,
Yeah.
Yeah. To maybe close the conversation, maybe can you just speak to someone maybe who's back home and maybe they're thinking of going abroad?
Mm-hmm.
So what can you tell them? Just
All right. What I can tell people who are willing to come, who are willing, I always say, if you're willing to take risk and you are so determined to come to abroad, there's nothing impossible. Give a try, and it's good. It's good to come to UK now that you have an extension of 2 years for, if you are doing your master's, you got 2 years to look for a job and get experience. If you get an internship with a company under your course, it's so good. And I encourage our people, big up put it.
yeah.
Please, let's move from our comfort zone and come over. Even I don't mean you just come to UK, you can go to Australia, you can go to Canada, but now UK is so open. Please come.
Yeah.
This country is just hard work, discipline, hard work, nothing more.
So thank you
Yeah.
very much, Matilda, for accepting my request to just be in my blog and having this conversation. It's been really a very interesting conversation, and it's been
Yeah.
an eye to many people who maybe were undecided on where to go to. So for those who want to go to UK, Matilda at least has given an experience, and you at least you know how life is there and the experience and what to expect when you go there.
Yeah. Maybe especially people will come to the Newcastle London line, because for the September intake, I was able to receive around 18 students, 15 to 18 students who came after me, and they're so settled. I know of three of them who came with their spouse.
Yeah, wow.
So nothing is impossible. And now that UK is so open to students, please apply and come. And you can also search for universities around here. It's not necessarily to be my university where I am. If you don't get an offer there, don't get discouraged. There are so many universities. There are so many affordable universities here. So reach out and we'll give you the information. I believe information is power. For me, I just landed here because I just did application. But for now that I'm here, I can give somebody a direction. And even if you have a school and maybe you have chosen, you tell me, I can give you a little information about it, even if it's not so much about it, but a little information about it. But it's worth coming here.
Wow. So for anyone maybe who wants to go to UK, Matilda is open. At least you can reach out on her Facebook page. So where can people at least get in touch with you? Maybe you can just give them your social media platform.
All right, on Facebook, it's Mati Malakwe. On Instagram, Mati, I don't use Instagram most of the time, but me on Facebook, I'll look at. It's Mati Malakwen. On Instagram, it's Mati Birgen.
Oh, Mati
Those are,
Birgen.
yeah.
So that's okay. Thank you very much, Matilda. So we can just now wrap up, and I really appreciate that. And we'll still have another conversation at least to still talk about this and have more, maybe explain more and give people more information about the processes and all that.
Yeah, I think the next video we will do about spouse or dependent visa, how they came and joined. I think that is the best.
Yeah, so thank you very much and see you next time.
Thank you. God bless you.
Bye.